Hello friends and welcome. Today we are going to talk about cinchona. The main objectives of today's deliberation are: number 1, to find out the origin and distribution of cinchona. Number 2, to give basic knowledge about the botanical description of cinchona. Number 3, to know about the therapeutic uses of cinchona. Number 4, to understand how quinine acts against malaria. And finally, to understand about health hazards associated with quinine overdose. To begin with, let me give a brief introduction. Cinchona plants are large shrubs or small trees with evergreen foliage. Cinchona is a genus of flowering plants in the family Rubiaceae containing at least 23 species of trees and shrubs. They are native to the tropical Andean forests of western South America. A few species are reportedly naturalized in Central America, Jamaica, French Polynesia, and St. Helena in the South Atlantic. A few species are used as medicinal plants known as sources for quinine and other compounds. Carl Linnaeus named the genus in 1742 after Anna de Osiroi, the fourth Countess of Chinchon, name and wife of a viceroy of Peru. According to some accounts, she suffered from malaria and was cured by a botanical remedy made of the powdered bark of a native tree. The veracity of the story is uncertain, but the tree still carries her name. The national tree of Peru is in the genus Cinchona. The leaves are opposite, rounded to lanceolate and 10 to 40 cm long. The flowers are white, pink, or red, produced in terminal panicles. The fruit is a small capsule containing numerous seeds. As a medicinal herb, cinchona bark is also known as Jesuit's bark or Peruvian bark. The bark is stripped from the tree, dried, and powdered for medicinal uses. The bark is medicinally active, containing a variety of alkaloids, including the anti-malarial compound quinine and the antiarrhythmic quinidine. Although the use of the bark has been largely superseded by more effective modern medicines, cinchona is the only economically practical source of quinine, a drug that is still recommended for the treatment of malaria. Now, origin and distribution. Known as the best source for the synthetic drug quinine, cinchona has been used for centuries and was the most widely consumed anti-malarial remedy in the world. The medicinal properties of the cinchona tree were originally discovered by the Quechua people of Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, and long cultivated by them as a muscle relaxant to abate shivering due to low body temperatures and symptoms of malaria, which was introduced to the Americans by Europeans. Anna de Osiroi, wife of the Count of Chinchon, then serving as viceroy of Peru, contracted malaria, and native people persuaded her to bath in a small pond beneath a tree whose quinine made its water bitter. After a few days, she was cured. Linnaeus later named the tree in her honor. Later, the Jesuit brother Agustino Salambrino, a trained apothecary who lived in Loja in Ecuador and Lima in Peru, observed the Quechua using the quinine-containing bark of the cinchona tree to cure malaria. While its effect in treating malaria and malaria-induced shivering was entirely unrelated to the plant's efficacy in controlling shivering from cold, it was nevertheless the correct medicine for malaria. The use of the fir tree bark was introduced into European medicine by Jesuit missionaries. Jesuit Bernabe Cobo, who explored Mexico and Peru, is credited with taking cinchona bark to Europe. He took the bark from Lima to Spain and afterwards to Rome and other parts of Italy in 1632. To maintain their monopoly on cinchona bark, Peru and surrounding countries began outlawing the export of cinchona seeds and saplings beginning in the early 19th century. In the 19th century, the plant seeds and cuttings were smuggled out for new cultivation at cinchona plantations in colonial regions of tropical Asia, notably by the British to the British Raj and Ceylon, that's present-day India and Sri Lanka, and by Dutch to Java in the Dutch East Indies, present-day Indonesia. During World War II, the Japanese conquered Java and the United States lost access to the cinchona plantations that supplied war-critical quinine medication. Botanical expeditions called cinchona missions were launched in 1942 to 1944 to explore promising areas of South America in an effort to locate cinchona species that contained quinine and could be harvested for quinine production. While ultimately successful in their primary aim, these expeditions also identified new species of plants and created a new chapter in international relations between the United States and other nations in America. Cinchona is indigenous to the mountainous tropical regions of South American continent, particularly the tropical area Peru. It's also found in other countries in tropical South America. Cultivation of the cinchona is big business, and cinchona plantations can be found in Asian countries such as India and Indonesia, mainly Java. Cinchona is also cultivated in many parts of Africa. Now let us discuss botanical description. Cinchona plants are large shrubs or small trees with evergreen foliage growing 5 to 15 meters in height. The bark is usually bitter. Rhaphides are absent, leaves are opposite, decussate, usually with well-developed domatia and 10 to 40 cm long. Stipules are caducous, interpetular or shortly united around stem. They are ligulate to ovate or entire. Inflorescence are terminal and often also in axils of uppermost leaves, cymos to paniculiform. They are many-flowered, pedunculate and bracteate. Flowers are pedicellate, bisexual and fragrant. Calyx limb is 5-lobed. Corolla is yellow, pink, purple, red or occasionally white. It is salverform or funnel form inside glabrous or pubescent in throat with tube often weakly 5-ridged outside. Lobes are 5, valvate in bud with margins densely ciliate to villous. Stamens are 5, insert in corolla tube. Filaments are short to developed and glabrous. Anthers are dorsifixed. Ovary is 2-celled with ovules, many in each on axial placentas. Stigma 2-lobed, lobes capitate to linear. Fruit is capsule with ovate to cylindrical or ellipsoid shape. It is staplicitally dehiscent into 2 valves from base or sometimes from apex with valves, then loculicidal through septum. Stiffly papery to woody, often lenticellate with calyx limb persistent. Seeds are numerous, medium-sized, ellipsoid to fusiform and somewhat flattened with membranous marginal wing and elliptic central seed portion. Angiosperm is fleshy, the cotyledons are ovate, the flowers are distylous. Some plants have only flowers of the long style that's pinform with a stigma positioned at the top of the corolla tube and anthers positioned below inside the tube. Other plants have short-styled flowers, thumb-form, with the reciprocal or opposed arrangement with the anthers positioned at the top of the corolla tube and stigmas below inside the tube. This reciprocal arrangement is believed to promote outcrossing and diminish pollination by the same flower form by depositing pollen on different parts of the pollinator so that the pollen from short-styled flowers is transferred to the stigmas of the long-styled flowers and vice versa. In general, the distylous type of flower also has incompatibility at the cellular level. So the pollen of long-styled flowers generally has a very low success rate in other long-styled flowers and vice versa. They are apparently pollinated mainly by butterflies and hummingbirds. Propagation of the cinchona trees is done from cutting late in the spring season. The trunk bark and bark from the branch and the root is removed for medicinal use. The bark is normally only removed from 6 to 8-year-old trees, and the collected bark is then subjected to drying in the sun on mats. Annually, approximately 8,000 tons of the bark is harvested from such farms. Now, taxonomical nomenclature. Kingdom Plantae, Order Gentianales, Family Rubiaceae, Subfamily Cinconidae, Tribe Cinconi, and Genus Cincona. Now, plant parts used. It is the bark of the tree that's used in herbal medicine and is sourced for drugs. The bark is stripped from the tree, dried, and ground into a powder. In the cinchona bark plantations, the trees that are stripped regrow some of their bark and are harvested again before they are cut down. In cultivation, it's sometimes a practice to grow moss on the cinchona trees. This seems to increase the concentration of alkaloids in the bark. Now let us discuss therapeutic uses and benefits of cinchona bark. It is a bark of cinchona tree which gives it a medicinal value. More than 20 alkaloids containing 15% amount, preferentially as quinine, quinidine, cinchonidine, and cinchonine, are found in the bark of cinchona combined with principal active compounds such as tannins. Along with these ingredients, the bark also contains acids, essential oils, and minerals such as triterpene, organic, phenolic, flavonoids, and phytosterols. These alkaloids are collectively known as quinoline alkaloids, mainly derived from tryptophan by the modification of terpenide indole. The terpenide indole alkaloids are very common in the genus Cinchona. In different species under genus Cinchona, more than 20 types of alkaloids have been isolated. However, it has been revealed that an average commercial yield of the cinchona alkaloids from the dry bark material of the plant are as follows: quinine 5.7%, quinidine 0.1 to 0.3%, cinchonine and cinchonidine 0.2 to 0.4%. Now, alkaloids which are mainly responsible for antimalarial activity of cinchona. Number 1. Quinine. The most important and characteristic alkaloids of cinchona contain 16% of quinine in the bark, but the percentage varies according to the species variety. The cinchona representative sample of dried cinchona or cinchona bark is found to be containing 0.4 to 4%. It's frequently used as antimalarial agent along with some other uses as a flavor in carbonated beverages, skeletal muscle relaxant, treats hemorrhoids, and also used as oxytocic agent. Quinine is supposed to be prophylactic for flu. Quinine got its antimalarial properties with interference in the synthesis of DNA in the merozoite phase of protozoa of the genus Plasmodium. Quinine, generally known as a general protoplasmic poison, affects variety of biological systems. Its courier-like action on skeletal muscle and toxic effects on bacteria and unicellular organisms such as Plasmodium are the basis for its therapeutic use in man for muscle cramps and malaria respectively. Next is cinchonine. The next important alkaloid present within cinchona after quinine is cinchonine, which is also used as an antimalarial agent and has a lower toxicity than quinine and having a higher activity compared to that of other quinine-related compounds. But the exact percentage of the cinchonine present in cinchona is controversial to the researcher. It's mainly used as antimicrobial agent and broadly used for schizonticides, amoebiasis, flu, dysentery, and fever. It acts as mild stimulant of gastric mucosa. Next, quinidine. The another important alkaloid is quinidine, mainly present in cinchona bark, ranging from 0.25% to 3%. It's a dextrorotatory stereoisomer of quinine. The main function is to act as anti-malarial agent, but it's also used as good antiarrhythmic agent when the antiarrhythmic metabolism is accomplished through membrane stabilization. Cinchona bark has been used as a remedy for heart palpitations arrhythmia since 1749 when the French physician Jean-Baptiste de Senec published his observations. This medicine was sometimes called the opium of the heart. It helps to treat atrial flutter, AV junction and ventricular constrictions, atrial and ventricular tachycardia and atrial fibrillation and premature atrial cognition. The antiarrhythmic property of quinidine is due to the direct interference with the electrophysiological properties of the cardiac cells, which causes rapid sodium influx and decrease of the atrial and intraventricular cognition velocity. Next is cinchonidine. Cinchonidine is obtained in most of the varieties of cinchona bark, especially in the bark of Cinchona pubescens, Cinchona pityensis, and it's mostly used as an anti-malarial agent. It's a stereoisomer and pseudoenantiomer of cinchonine and used chiefly as substitute of quinine. Epicynchonidine is mostly used as an anti-malarial agent. Now, cinchona alkaloids, which are responsible for some other important functions. Number 1. Anti-obesity property. Cinchonine, the potent alkaloids in cinchona bark, is widely used for anti-malarial activity. But it could be a potential agent that can solve the concerns related to obesity. According to Jung et al. 2012, cinchonine affects dramatically than other phytochemicals that have been known to exert anti-obesity effects. Cinchona has been used in traditional medicine as an appetite stimulant. It may also help in weight loss, though not through the suppression of appetite. The possible medicinal value of quinine as a weight control herb was investigated in 1970s in experiments with rodents, but there is renewed interest in cinchona for this purpose. A very recent study in 2013 showed that the herb suppressed weight gain without affecting appetite and food consumption in adult male mice. The mechanism may be quinine's interference with nutrient absorption in the intestines, although the mice did not appear to be malnourished. In several literature studies, it was demonstrated that cinchonine is a useful dietary phytochemical for the prevention of not only obesity but also adipose inflammation. Now, anti-cancer agent. According to Krishna Vedi and Suresh 2015, quinine is more potent to inhibit the cell proliferation and induce apoptotic cell death in a cancer cell line in a dose and time dependent manner. ROS, that is reactive oxygen species, is critical for the metabolic and signal transduction pathways associated with cell growth and apoptosis. Several anti-cancer agents including anthracyclines, cisplatin, bleomycin and irradiation currently used for cancer treatment have been shown to cause increased intracellular ROS generation. The results of this study showed that the intracellular ROS levels were significantly increased in cancer cell line treated with quinine at time and dose dependent manner. Induction of cell death through indirect activation of the mitochondria dependent pathway is a conventional anti-cancer treatment, but sometimes it's altered in drug-resistant cancer cells. Effect of quinine induce typical morphological change as a signal of apoptosis like cell shrinkage, membrane blubbing, chromatid condensation, nuclear fragmentation, apoptotic bodies, and loss of adhesion. So, quinine may be a strong anti-cancer agent in future due to its huge apoptotic activities in cancer. Next is antioxidant properties. As described by Ravi Shankara et al., cinchona exhibit efficient antioxidant properties due to presence of phenolic compounds. The biological properties of phenolics include anti-tumor, antiviral, anti-HIV, and also inhibition of lipid peroxidation. The study was mainly concentrated on three major radicals: superoxide, hydroxyl, and nitric oxide radicals, as these are the main radicals responsible for the oxidative damage of cellular components of the human body. Methanolic and water extract showed a concentration-dependent anti-radical activity by inhibiting DPPH with the AC50 value of 8.08 microgram per milliliter and 64.19 microgram per milliliter respectively. The extract of cinchona also shows the inhibition of erythrocytes hemolysis induced by phenylhydrazine, which was done in dose-dependent manner, and as a result, methanolic extract showed a better protection than alpha-tocopherol, which reveals the ability of the cinchona extract to scavenge the free radical. Next property is antimicrobial property. According to Pankaj et al., cinchona alkaloids showed the antibacterial activity against the Staphylococcus aureus. It has been studied that antimicrobial activity increased according to the concentration of the cinchona alkaloids. Extraction of cinchona alkaloids is found effective against amoebiasis. Dried bark is used to treat disease caused by a pathogenic strain like Plasmodium falciparum and herpes. Rogers J.J. confirmed that cinchona was active against the several microorganisms which are harmful to the human body. Next, antiparasitic activity. In this modern world of medicine, still the protozoan parasites cause the infectious disease and remain as major health problem. Among the disease, leishmaniasis, malaria, and trypanosomiasis are the major health problem caused by the Leishmania species, Plasmodium species, and Trypanosome species. Moreover, the major problem in the treatment of these diseases is due to the increase of resistant strains to the medicine and the toxic effects and relative efficacy of some of the drugs used for treatment nowadays. Among the drugs used for the treatment of malaria is quinine, the major alkaloid of cinchona, and still remain the drug of choice. According to Aurélie Leverrier, compound possessing a quinolone nucleus display a variety of biological properties and can be used as antiparasitic such as for malaria, leishmania, and trypanosomiasis. Next, anti-inflammatory. Apart from treating malaria, quinine is also used to treat nocturnal leg cramps and arthritis, and there have been attempts to treat prion disease. It's also used as an ingredient of tonic drinks for its bitter taste. Infusions of the bark of the Peruvian cinchona tree have been used for centuries for medicinal purpose and were observed to have both antimalarial and anti-inflammatory properties. The active agents quinine and cinchonine were isolated and used as early as 1894 to treat lupus. As slow-acting, low-toxicity drugs, they are useful in combination therapy, especially for SLE, that is systemic lupus erythematosus. Since their mode of action is quite different to other anti-inflammatory drugs, they act by inhibiting lysosomal and endosomal function, thus limiting the release of secreted proteins, including cytokines. Antigen processing and presentation, and thus T-cell activation, are also inhibited. Among the list of other maladies which are treated by cinchona are hair loss, alcoholism, hemorrhoids, enlarged spleen, and the common cold. Now let us see the side effects of quinine. Quinine has a toxic effect due to the overdose. The nervous system, including optic and auditory nerve, are the primary site of damage by quinine toxicity and secondary to both vascular and neural injury. Quinine causes fever, delirium, and increased ventilator rate by an initial generalized stimulation of the central nervous system, which is followed by coma and respiratory depression. Quinine also causes myocardial depression, peripheral vasodilatation, and electrophysiological effects, including an increase in action potential duration and effective refractory period and a decrease in membrane responsiveness and automaticity. In addition, renal failure, hemolytic anemia, hypoprothrombinemia, and gastrointestinal symptoms of both central and local origin are reported. Literature study revealed that papillary dilation is a consistent feature of quinine toxicity which occurs due to the prolonged use of the alkaloid to treat severe malaria, sometimes creates bilateral blindness, and fatal cardiac arrest has been described in which the intravenous drug is altered with quinine. Quinine can cause hemolysis in G6PD deficiency and inherited deficiency, but this risk is small. Quinine has been previously listed as being contraindicated during pregnancy because of fetal and abortifacient effects. A review of the safety of anti-malarial drugs in pregnancy stated that standard doses of quinine showed no evidence of increased risk of abortion or preterm delivery. Quinine has been shown to be secreted into breast milk, but insignificant amounts are ingested by the infant. However, high dose of quinine can cause uterine stimulation in pregnant women and deafness and optic nerve hypoplasia in children. Now, common effects can be summed up as severe diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, severe abdominal pain, black or tarry stools, bloody stool, blurred vision, anxiety and nervousness, difficult and painful breathing, severe back pain, ringing or buzzing in the ears, swelling of the eyes, ears and inside of nose, slurred speech, sleeplessness, excessive hunger, fast heartbeat. With this, we come to end of today's lecture. Hope this was helpful.